Hey there, Bucs fans. Team reporter Casey Phillips here with senior writer and editor Scott Smith. It's time for our playoff matchup. We have known the Bucs were in the playoffs, which was nice to get a little breather the last week of the season, not be stressed about that.
Absolutely.
Knowing the game against Atlanta had no bearing whatsoever on what seed they were, whether or not they were in. But we didn't know who they were going to be playing. We have suspected for a while it would be the Cowboys. That had looked like the most likely one, although the Eagles tried to mix things up a little bit towards the end. But now it is official. It is the Cowboys. So how did we get to this point, and why the Cowboys are the matchup?
Well, the Eagles looked like they were going to wrap this up a while ago, but then Jalen Hurts got hurt for a while. And so it didn't happen until this week, but Philadelphia finished off business by winning in Week 18 against the Giants. And so they won the NFC East, as looked like it was going to happen all along, but we had to wait until that actually happened.
Yeah.
And then, as expected, for quite some time, Dallas is the top wild card, and the Bucs as the 4th seed of the 4 division winners. They had the worst record. They've been locked in there since they won the division. So 4 goes against 5, and here comes Dallas, and it's a rematch of the first game of the season.
We've played them just a few times
recently.
We're getting a little familiar here. And
Sure.
I will say, I like the idea of Todd Bowles facing a familiar opponent. The guy knows how to scheme it up, knows what to do. So tell me what you think the benefit is of getting to play a team you already played and beat this year, but how maybe these teams are a little different than then, or what could be similar or different to this matchup.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to call it a benefit or that we have some advantage because we beat them in Week 1. That's a long time ago. That seems like
in football
2
years,
seasons
yeah,
ago.
It's like dog years.
In that game, what the Buccaneers did was run the ball really, really well. They, it was one of their best rushing attacks of the entire season, and we just didn't see that for most of the rest of the year. So it's hard to say, can they duplicate that formula, because the Buccaneers entered the playoffs with the 32nd ranked rushing attack in the league. So I'm not sure it's going to be the same sort of game. Also, Dak Prescott got hurt in that game. You obviously don't want or expect that to happen again. I think the Cowboys offense has really come together over the course of the season, and now it's a unit that's scoring around 28, 29 points per game. They've got, CeeDee Lamb as a star. He might be an all-pro. They just, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard has really emerged as...
Yeah, what a duo.
I would call him a compliment to Elliott, but I would say he may be more dangerous than Elliott.
Yeah, 1A and 1B.
Yeah, and then Elliott is just absolutely... He's like Mike Allstott. He's just undeniable around the goal line. So... and they have a good offensive line. It's just a team that I don't think resembles a whole lot what we saw in Week 1.
Yeah, not a lot of weaknesses on that front.
Yeah.
And then defensively, we know that it's so interesting to realize how recently the Cowboys defense was talked about as its big liability. And then here came Micah Parsons.
Yeah, Micah Parsons solves everything,
Yeah.
right? And when the Buccaneers played them in Week 1, he had 2 sacks. And as the Cowboys were trying to come back, he made a couple of big plays that sort of helped them. It obviously didn't come to be, but it kept them in the game a little bit. And he's just you can move him all around the field. He's just a threat from anywhere. They have Trevon Diggs, the cornerback, who, may be a little bit of a gambler, but he comes up with a lot of big plays. And that defense, it puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They make a lot of big plays. I think there are a lot of boom or bust sort of defense, and so there's opportunities there, to make some big plays against them. But they're a defense that kept the Cowboys really in their season while Dak Prescott was out for 5 games. They went something like 4-1 with Cooper Rush, I think.
That was crazy.
And it was mostly because the defense was dominant. And they've been a little bit up and down, as most teams are, but that's definitely a defense that the Buccaneers will have a tough time keeping
Slowing
from
down.
making big plays.
Yep, absolutely. Well, it's going to be a fascinating matchup at Raymond James Stadium. So make sure you stay tuned for all the coverage leading up to the first round of the playoffs here at home against the Dallas Cowboys on Buccaneers.com.